Hi guys, Chelsea from Attention to Details, and I wanted to share with you guys a video of how I take care of odor issues within a vehicle for my customers. So this specific scenario, I have a vehicle that the previous owner lived in this vehicle for a few months, went through some hard times, was living in it, was a smoker, smoked heavily in the vehicle. There was a lot of nicotine, a lot of ash, a lot of heavy soiling in the seats, carpets. I have done as much of a thorough cleaning as I can. I did probably 2 shampoo treatments on this with various cleaners from Enzyme cleaners, Bonnet Pro Omegazyme, which has an enzyme eater within it. I also use their Revive It Oxy Spotter. I also use the Omega Away Waste Away for certain spots. I mean, we've hit this with every professional chemical that I have. I followed up with Superior Product Zap It this morning because I noticed that there were just in certain areas, because they were so heavily soiled, and once I got it wet, it's hard to kind of see the stains. Once it dried, I could see there were still a couple areas that I wanted to just fine tune and dial in. So I went behind with Superior Product Zap It just to go over those light things. It's a low foaming, nice citrus scent. If you have like light nicotine and odor and things like that, it's a fantastic product to use for that. But essentially you're going to want to use some sort of enzyme shampoo or product, because the enzyme within those products is going to actually go after odor causing bacteria and try to destroy it. Organics, any sort of grease, fats, proteins, things like that. So anyways, I've already done my shampooing. The reason I'm telling you this, the seats are still wet. If you were to immediately get done with your interior and go straight to shampooing, what could happen is a chemical reaction called UV irradiation. And I mean, that's essentially what ozone does. But when you combine H2O and O3, which is ozone, and H2O is obviously water, you're going to actually create hydrogen peroxide. And what's going to happen is any of the fabrics or fibers that are in your vehicle could potentially be bleached and damaged. So you want to make sure first and foremost that this vehicle, whatever you're working on, is completely dry. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to turn this vehicle on, we're going to turn the heat on, and we're just going to let this circulate. I'm going to work on the exterior, do my tires, wheels, wheel wells. I'm going to start washing it, clay barring it. By the time I get to my polish step, which that's probably an hour or so, once I get to my polish step, everything should be dry and ready to go. And then while I am polishing, I will do the ozone treatment. That way I can have just one window cracked, I can have my cord in there. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna let this run, I'm gonna let this dry, but I wanted to include that little tidbit in this video because that's very important. A lot of people aren't aware of the damage that could happen if you still have a wet cabin on the inside of your vehicle. So first and foremost, let it dry. So we're just gonna turn on the heat on the vehicle, full blast. We're going to go ahead, get everything dry. The customer already changed the cabin filter. It's a fresh one. Yes, we are running it for a little bit just to dry it. It's not going to damage it, because when we do our ozone treatment, we're going to recirculate the air conditioning, and that brand new cabin filter is going to have that ozone running through all the fibers of it, and it will remove any sort of odor causing bacteria in the fresh one. You don't want an old one and then do the cabin filter after the fact, because obviously you're going to have the customer driving it home, and they may turn their air conditioning on, and all that old odor within the old cabin filter is just going to recirculate that smoke smell. So first, you want to make sure the customer changes it right before they drop it off, which is what this customer did. And then when we do our ozone treatment, any maybe hours that the air was circulating through it with the old nicotine, it's not going to damage it. The ozone will kind of go after that. You don't want something that's been in there 6 months, 7 months, who knows how long they've changed their cabin filter. So anyways, long story short, let's get this dry, and then we're going to come back. Let me show you my ozone treatment and how I do it. So I know some of you may be thinking, what was my process in cleaning before I even get to the ozone generator step? So I did a video the other day talking about my process, and essentially I don't veer from that path. What you do want to make sure that you do whenever you are cleaning a vehicle that has odor removal, you want to pay attention to the headliner. And I degrease the headliner. I actually use super clean, 4-to-1, and a steamer and microfiber. You could use a DA with a microfiber pad if it is heavily stained, and go over that. But you want to make sure that you are trying to remove as much nicotine staining This had a lot of staining right here and all in the back from just the ash and the smoke kind of shifting backwards. The back plastics back here had ash stains. I actually had to use a magic eraser aggressively on them just to remove them. We cleaned everything from the plastics all the way in the back. Our glass, we degreased all the plastics using non-acid universal cleaner or super clean or APC, anything that really has degreasing capabilities to go after any sort of nicotine, grease, sticky stuff. Just make sure you do a thorough cleaning. You even want to pay attention to your seat belts. When I was shampooing the seats, I actually shampooed my seat belts, scrubbed all the plastics. They are very known and prominent for just kind of absorbing nicotine. If you have ever seen, let's say, a gray interior where the vehicle has been smoked, and the seatbelts will actually start to turn brown or orangish looking because of the nicotine. Seatbelts are very hard to clean, but you at least want to try. Use your drill brush, shampoo them, extract them. Make sure you try to remove as much of that. When we do our ozone treatment, I will pull these out as far as possible. Sometimes I'll even wrap them around the headrest so that way they are pulled fully, because if I were to just come in, and just have it standard, but then the customer comes in after the fact and puts it on, any of that old stuff is going to be kind of untreated. So pull the seat belts out completely when we're doing our ozone treatment. But you can just see everything has been shampooed, everything has been degreased. We even paid attention to all these little nooks and crannies. We scrubbed plastics. You can see we've got everything nice and clean. Cup holders. So essentially, I got a detailed interior with no dressing on it. Now, the reason I say no dressing, when you are doing an ozone treatment, what can occur is actually oxidation of your plastics. It can pull some of the oils that are in these plastics. If you've ever had, an older vehicle that you don't treat the front dash, what can happen is it'll start to fade from the UV rays, and the UV actually starts to bake it and pull the oils out of your plastic out, and it makes it very brittle and faded. And that can actually occur an accelerated process by an ozone treatment. So what you want to do is no dressing before the ozone treatment, but make sure you follow up with some sort of dressing that's going to replenish the oils, put it back into the plastics, so that way you are preventing any of that oxidation damage for the customer. What I would actually do is you can do something like a spray wax that has UV protection in it, or you can do something like 303 aerospace protectant that has replenishing oils in it as well as UV protection. Fantastic product, but that's what I would use in this circumstance to replenish as well as to treat for protection from the UV rays. But any spray wax would give you that UV protection. It may not just have the oils that you're looking for that 303 aerospace protectant might have. So anyways, that is essentially what I would do to prepare the vehicle for the ozone treatment. And now that we've gotten everything cleaned, you want to use steam, degreasers, you want to use your enzyme cleaners, you want to use whatever shampoos you need to clean the seats. Let that dry and then move on to your ozone treatment. Guys, we are washed, clayed, dried. The interior has thoroughly dried in the time it took for me to do that. You can see our seats turned out well improved. Just that second rinse was able to kind of give it just a better consistent clean look. We had some light streaking. I'm not going to go over it a second time. This is a huge improvement. The customer's going to be blown away by this. So we have our ozone generator ready to go. Now this is from Enerzen, and this is, give me 1 second, I want to make sure, I think it's the 4,500 milligram version. They sell one that is a stronger version. I actually contacted them when I first bought this, and I had I think it was 9,000 milligrams, and they said that's way overkill. They said that's more for industrial purposes, for smoke rehabilitation inside a home, because it covers a larger square foot. For a vehicle, you don't need something that covers like 1,000 square feet. So they recommended that I get this one, which I was happy about that because it was more affordable. I'm going to put the link for this. I purchased it off of Amazon. I have had it for 2.5 years. I've used it maybe 10 times, but I have had no issues with it whatsoever. When I do my ozone treatment, so what I will do is, if I have cloth mats I would actually stand them all. I would roll them up in a circle and stand them upright. Now, because I have rubber mats, I'm not going to put the rubber mats in here. But what I am going to do, we're going to open visors. We're going to open compartments, all of them. Get that air flowing through everything. And then we're also going to take our seat belts. What I do is I just kind of wrap it around here, and it'll keep it kind of pulled out. That way I have the full seat belt. Just make sure you don't close it in the door. But we'll do that to all of our seat belts, open up all of our compartments, pull down visors. Again, like I said, if you have cloth mats, you want to lift those up. You want the cloth mats to be done, but you also want the base floor. So get everything lifted up, opened up. Let me get all my seat belts pulled out, and then I will show you my next step. Alright, so you can see we have the ozone generator plugged in. I have the window lowered down, and I have it about this much to get fresh air. What we are going to do is I'm going to get the vehicle is on. We're going to push for AC. Max AC, recirculate. Alright, so we've got it on recirculate. You don't have to do the floorboard, but you can do full air, max AC, recirculate. That is key. So again, all the seat belts are pulled down. Hopefully you can see that. Alright, so what we're going to do, I don't have this on yet. We are going to do a 60-minute treatment. I start out at an hour, and then I air out for an hour. Assess, see if you need to go further. You want to have it kind of centrally located in the vehicle. Alright, so we've got it on, it's just not plugged in. As soon as we plug it in, it will turn on. Now, ozone is not safe to breathe, so you do not want to be in the vehicle when this kicks on. Every now and then I will kind of put my nose up to the door to make sure that it's working, and I can definitely smell it. Doing this with one hand. Alright, so I can see the red light. There we go. You can see the red light. Well, I can see the red light. Trust me, it's working. And what I'll do is in a couple seconds, you'll actually be able to start smelling that ozone smell. So we're gonna let this run for 60 minutes. But as long as you run it, you need to air it out for equivalent, if not longer. Do warn the customer that there will be a lingering smell. It doesn't completely dissipate. If you're doing multiple treatments or longer treatments, again, make sure you are airing it out properly. Ozone can be toxic if breathed in too strong of a concentration, so please ensure. Disclaimer, I'm trying to give you guys all the advice. Ozone is toxic. If you breathe it in, you want to make sure that you are airing the vehicle out before you return it to the customer. So do not run it and then immediately give it back to them. Make sure you are airing it out minimum of however long your session is that you're running it. At least 2 hours. Open up all the doors. Make sure, even if you get a fan blower and just kind of blow fresh air into it. Tell the customer, drive with the windows down if it's too strong. Some people are very sensitive to smells. You do not want issues with this. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but you just want to be safe and be cautious. So if I can smell it. If I come up to the crack, I can already smell the ozone. This little crack right here, the reason I have the window cracked, ozone generators need a fresh supply of oxygen. Is this a huge amount? No, but I also don't want to lose what ozone I have in there. That's why there are more professional units or more expensive units that this will actually be sealed. They will have a tube from the ozone generator through like a small pipe and actually be kind of funneling, pumping in fresh air to that machine. Ozone can only work if it has a fresh supply of air. So that's why we have the air on recirculate, but we have this little bit of a crack right here. I can feel air kind of moving around my fingers when I go in there. So you just want to, have that continuous little crack. It doesn't need to be huge, or else it kind of loses the benefits. So you want to have it cracked, just to, more than anything, cord and give that fresh supply. And we're going to let that run its course. We'll be back after our 60-minute treatment. I am going to go on a lunch break. I'm going to start polishing this. Probably by the time we're done polishing, we'll be done with our first cycle aired out. I'll be able to assess if I need to do a second treatment. But I'm hoping a 60-minute treatment will be sufficient. Normally I only do about a 45-minute treatment for light odor. This is pretty severe. and just because of the state that it was beforehand, we're just going to do a full hour course. It goes up to about 80 minutes, I believe, on this generator. I've never needed to go full blown. Normally 30-45 minutes is average that most people will do, but 60 we're for sure going to go after it. So anyways, we're going to do our polish. We'll be back in about an hour. Guys, we are done fully with the interior, the ozone treatment. We closed all the compartments, put the seat belts back, have the doors, everything aired out. We've already done our 303 aerospace protectant to replenish any of the conditioners in the plastics that may have been compromised from the ozone treatment. It's not going to happen immediately, but if you do prolonged use, it can start to oxidize them. So it's just a preventative measure, and I've noticed when I dress beforehand and then do it, it can be a little streaky, so just save yourself the effort, do the dressing afterwards. Less work, and you're replenishing any of the oils. So anyways, everything is done. Mats are being put back in. I absolutely love this kind of fresh, clean smell afterwards. It can give some people a little bit of a headache. I'm not super sensitive to smells, so just let the customer know. But ultimately, I believe one treatment did her. This is fantastic. I'm really happy with the end result. When I come in here, the only thing I smell is ozone and fresh and clean. No, lingering scent. Obviously, we'll follow up with the customer in about a week, make sure everything is going properly. If we need to, we can do a follow-up treatment. But there you have it. Very quick, not very quick, easy process to do an ozone treatment. You want to make sure you're cleaning properly first and foremost. That's the number one thing that you need to do. Shampoo, thoroughly extract, degrease, steam clean, let dry, do your ozone treatment. Very easy to do. This is a treatment that I charge about $100 for ozone treatment because of the prep work, not necessarily the ozone. I essentially am just plugging it in and running it. It's the prep work that is required beforehand. That is where the labor comes in, and that's just to do it properly. So I hope this helps some of you guys. This is a fantastic service to be able to offer your customers. The way that I do it is I'll charge for an interior, a flat rate, and then I do the $100 additional price for the ozone, just because I know, one, the time it's going to take to do the ozone to air it out, and two, the little bit of extra measures that I have to take just to clean it. That way I am compensated, and it's affordable for the customer at the same time. So there you have it. Hope you enjoy. I hope the customer enjoys, and we will keep moving on this vehicle and see you in the next video. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody. It's my birthday. We'll see you later.